Hello everyone, Keir Smith here, back with another video, and today's video completes a trio of videos I started earlier this year, my 6 From series. I chose 6 from 76, my 6 favourite albums from 1976, then 6 from 86, and for today's video it's 6 from 1996. I was 15 years old in 1996 and I was hearing this music as it came out, or rather seeing it on various music channels. And so I have great affection for all of these albums that I'm about to show. Although in truth, I didn't buy these albums until maybe a year or two later. I was still on pocket money back then, you understand. And like the previous videos, I'll take you through these 6 albums in release date order, and at the end of the video, I'll rank the 6 albums from least favourite to favourite. So with that said, let's get straight to it. Here is my 6 from 96. So my list starts in May 1996 with this album, George Michael, Older. And this was a huge album at the time, and it was inspired a great deal by the death of his boyfriend Anselmo Filippo, who died of a AIDS-related brain hemorrhage back in 1993. And so this is a dark, introspective and a deeply personal album. And this album boasted no less than 6 hit singles, and big hits too. They all charted inside the top 3 in the UK. How about that? The album opens in a mournful mood with the breathtakingly beautiful Jesus to a Child, which for me is one of the most emotionally affecting songs. It really is painfully sad, but without doubt one of George Michael's purest vocals. When George sings, "And what have I learned from all those tears? I've waited for you all those years. Then, just when it began, he took your love away." Oh, it's almost too much to take. And it does have this really delicate and almost funeral-like arrangement to it, but as I say, it's breathtaking stuff. But the mood does pick up on the next track on the album, the awesome Fast Love. This funky dance groove is irresistible. Good bass. Spinning the Wheel is another favourite of mine here, featuring some excellent trumpet playing. The title track was a really nice song, and I love The Strangest Thing with that twangy sitar, guitar-like sound. And again, great lyrics here. There's a liar in my head, there's a thief upon my bed, and the strangest thing is I cannot seem to get my eyes open. Star People is another great track and slightly self-deprecating given the status of George Michael's stardom. Who gives a fuck about your problems, baby? Because you can pay the rent. A great up-tempo, feel-good track. And if not Jesus to a Child, then my favourite song on the album would be the gorgeous You Have Been Loved. Similar to Jesus to a Child, it has a really mournful arrangement that is befitting of the song's dark lyrics. In particular, the trumpet playing that opens this song is some of the most beautiful and expressive playing I've ever heard. And again, this song contains some of my favourite lyrics of all time, and I don't say that lightly. These lyrics break your heart. And by the time George sings, "If I was weak, forgive me, but I was terrified," I'm almost in tears. This album's not for the faint-hearted, but I think it's George Michael's finest hour. A fine album. Older. Arriving a week later in May 1996 is the 4th studio album by the brilliant Manic Street Preachers, one of my favourite bands of all time, a top 10 favourite band of all time. And this was their first album without Richie Edwards, of course, although his lyrics are used on, I think, 3 of the songs here. This album too boasted 4 huge singles, the biggest, of course, being A Design for Life, which seemed to be the nation's anthem for the summer of 1996. A swirling, string-soaked epic with a powerful chorus. A great song. And there's a similarly big chorus on the rousing, anthemic rocker that is Australia. Kevin Carter was, and remains, a really cool track, and the title track, of course, is another big, anthemic rock song. I really like the opener, Elvis Impersonator, Blackpool Pier, with its rather odd lyrical content, but a really good song. I really like the delicate, acoustically picked Small Black Flowers That Grow in the Sky. A really pretty arrangement. And don't ask me why, but I really like that closing lyric. Here, chewing your tail is joy. Very odd. But it's probably the two tracks that close the album that are my favourites here. Further Away and No Surface All Feeling. They both have this strong emotional weight to them, and the lyrical content never fails to move me. In particular, James Dean Bradfield's vocals and guitar playing on those tracks is absolutely stellar. Removables and Interiors, song for Willem de Kooning, they're both good songs. I was never that mad on Enola Alone and The Girl That Wanted to Be God, although a lot of fans do like those. But all in all, it's a great listen from start to finish and a really strong album by the band. A top 5 album by the band for me. And look, it's signed by the 3 members of the band, which I'm delighted to own. So we fast forward now to September with this album, the 3rd album by Suede, coming up. And lead singer Brett Anderson was always keen to distance himself and Suede from being put under that Britpop umbrella, but this 10-set collection of songs seemed to fit the mood and the times and this musical genre entirely. And this album too boasted 5 top 10 UK singles. And to this day, I still think the lead single, Trash, is one of Suede's best songs. And it's gone on to become somewhat of an anthem for the band's fans, with that great chorus line, "We're trash, you and me, with a litter on the breeze." Similarly, Beautiful Ones is another really good track with another great chorus. I was never mad on the glam rock stomp of Film Star, although it's okay. But I don't like the song Lazy. I thought it was a lazy single, lazy songwriting. But the album closer, the gorgeous Saturday Night, is a real beauty. I love the languid and woozy guitar lines throughout that song. And Brett Anderson's high falsetto at the end of the song where he la-la-las his way through the outro. By the Sea is one of the standout tracks on the album for me. A slow-burning mini-epic. Picnic by the Motorway is a good song, but my favourite song on the album would be The Chemistry Between Us. That is superb. Great riff, big chorus, really good lyrics too. Class A, Class B. Is that the only chemistry between us? I always thought it had a double meaning, as in Class A, Class B, drugs and the class system. A very good album and a hugely popular album, their biggest seller by far. I wasn't into Suede at the time, but I've come to them much later in life and they're a fine band. Arriving a week later on September 9th is this album by R.E.M., New Adventures in Hi-Fi. Good title. And I always thought that this album seemed to merge the sounds of their previous 2 albums, Monster from 1994 and Automatic for the People from 1992. And whilst this album doesn't quite hit the heights of those previous 2 albums, there's still plenty to enjoy here. Ebo the Letter was the lead single for the album, as I recall, and this was a departure in terms of sound for the band, featuring sombre and dark undertones and also featuring the vocals of Patti Smith. But even at 15 years old, I thought, what a great song, and I've not changed my mind all these years later. How the West Was Won and Where It Got Us. Again, great title. That song opens the album. A really good song. But I like the rockier moments on New Adventures in Hi-Fi, like Wake Up Bomb and Bittersweet Me, which was another single. Both really strong rockers. Low Desert is good. That's a gritty track. New Test Leper and Be Mine show Michael Stipe's softer side and are both really good songs. But the song Leave is my favourite song here and would be in my top 5 favourite R.E.M. songs. It's awesome. That slow picked acoustic intro leads into that blaring alarm sound, and Peter Buck's loose and ragged guitar playing is superb. The instrumental track Zither is a little bit odd. It's slinky and slight, but a nice interlude nonetheless. But Mike Mills' piano playing on the beautiful Electro Light, which was another hit single for the band, is absolutely wonderful, as are his high harmonies. It's a rather jaunty song with a really nice chorus, and in particular I really like Stipe singing there. Really good. Both Departure and So Fast So Numb are good rock songs. I really like those. It's a loose and diverse album by the band, but a really enjoyable one. 14 tracks too. It's not all great, but plenty to like. A really good album. No Adventures in Hi-Fi. And arriving a week after that, on September 16th, is the debut album by Cooler Shaker, K. An astonishing debut album. This album has the lot. Great guitars, choppy drums, swirling, pulsing organs, great harmonies, great choruses, female vocalising, Indian transcript. It's astonishing. I was and will always be absolutely mad about this album. And I remember hearing Tatva for the first time and hearing that Indian influence all over the track, and it reminded me, of course, being a huge Beatles fan at the time, and in particular a huge fan of all things George Harrison, what they were doing back in the 60s on songs like Love You Too and The Inner Light and Within You Without You. It seemed to me, or to my ears, that Cooler Shaker were taking that and taking it forward, which I thought was amazing. And then I heard Govinda, which I was head over heels for and still absolutely adore to this day. And the fact that it's heavy and it's got this big, surging, powerful chorus and the mantra-like vocals and lyrics to it make it very singable and hugely enjoyable. The opening track, Hey Dude, was another big single for the band. Very catchy, great chorus, great guitars. The following track, Night on the Town, again, absolutely fantastic. A surging rocker. I love the many riffs and guitar licks that make up the brilliant 303 with a great vocal by Crispian Mills. Grateful When You're Dead was another big single and features some funky and wild guitar playing, and that's a great track. And then you get that slow meditative part on the end of it. Jerry Was There, very good, very nice. Magic Theatre is one of my favourite songs here. A nice change of pace from the flurry of guitars. A slow, brooding and haunting track with Eastern influences all over it. A really beautiful piece of music. Into the Deep is a really good song with a euphoric chorus. Smart Dogs is another great track with, again, superb guitar work. I was never that mad on the penultimate track, Start All Over, but the closing track, Hollow Man, is a really nice piece. I really like Temple of Everlasting Light. Sleeping Jiver is good. It really is mind-blowing to think that a band could sound this good on their debut album, but they do. The best way I could describe this album, and indeed the biggest compliment that I could give it, is it sounds like something between Jimi Hendrix and the Beatles. Crispian Mills is not only an extraordinary guitarist, he's a great vocalist too, and Jay Darlington's keyboard and organ work throughout this album is superb too. I thought these were absolutely awesome when they came out, and this is one of the best debut albums of all time. K by Cooler Shaker. If you don't know this album, I implore you to give it a listen. And finally, arriving in November 1996 is the second album by Bush, who had it all to do to live up to their 16 plus million selling debut album, 16 Stone, but they just about did it. Bush had this post-grunge, hard rock sound that I fell in love with. Personal Holloway gets us off to a suitable, heavy start, a real driving, heavy rock song. Very good. And then we get two big hit singles for the band. Firstly, Greedy Fly, which has a really powerful and heavy chorus, loud guitars, love it. And that's followed by one of the band's most popular and well-known songs, Swallowed, which has that old grunge trick of quiet verse, loud, explosive chorus that works so well. Another really good song. And that's followed by two of what I think are the best songs on the album. Firstly, Insect Kin, and that's followed by Cold Contagious. And both songs kind of ebb and flow between quiet and loud, and both feature really explosive and expressive vocals by Gavin Rossdale, whose vocals I admire greatly. But the sheer power and ferocity between Gavin Rossdale and Nigel Pulsford's guitar playing here, it's so good. I feel empowered when I'm listening to this. Straight No Chaser is another really fine song and a nice change of pace on the album. It quietens things down a little and features some really sweet violin playing. A really nice touch. The penultimate track on the album, Bone Driven, is similarly low key, let's say, but another really good song and features some abstract lyrics, as always, from Gavin Rossdale. Much maligned, beat me clever. And through the years and through all of Bush's fine albums, I can't tell you what Gavin Rossdale's lyrics are about. They're so abstract, but he's a writer that I really enjoy. I really like his writing. I just don't know what any of it means. A Tendency to Start Fires is another really strong track here, and of the many great vocal deliveries that Gavin Rossdale produces here, this one is right up there. Mouth is good. I was never that mad on the song History, possibly my least favourite here, but I do really like the closing track, Distant Voices, that rounds this fine album off very nicely. It's both loose but heavy, it's ragged yet tight-knit. These are great performances and I've always absolutely loved this album, Razorblade Suitcase by Bush, and I have great memories of listening to this album as a teenager. I've got my older brother Craig to thank for this because he got me into Bush. We'd sit and play football games on the computer and listen to this album and 16 Stone, and we were mad for it. Mad for Bush. So there you go, that was my 6 from 96, and to start with I chose Older by George Michael. That was followed by Everything Must Go by Manic Street Preachers, and Coming Up by Suede, New Adventures in Hi-Fi by R.E.M., K by Cooler Shaker, and finally Razorblade Suitcase by Bush. Okay, so to rank the albums from least favourite to favourite, I'll go with least favourite, Suede, Coming Up. Then I'll go with Older by George Michael, followed by R.E.M., New Adventures in Hi-Fi. And as much as I love it, I'm going to have to put it at number 3, Razorblade Suitcase by Bush. Marginally better. Great album, but Everything Must Go by Manic Street Preachers. This could have been number 1. I'm going to put it at number 2 because I think, as I say, for a debut album, and, well, it's just an amazing album. K, my number 1 by Cooler Shaker. Give it a listen. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you watched the other 2 videos, my 6 from 76 and 6 from 86, I hope you enjoyed those too. It was an enjoyable little series to do. But as always, thank you so much for stopping by and watching this video. And as always, I'll see you for my next video sometime soon. Until then, bye for now.